Hey everybody, this is Mitch. I am the Boar Creative. Well, I've been working on projects in the house for the past couple months, so I wanted to get back to doing something in the garage that I've had planned for about a year, and that is to convert this corner here into not exactly a tool wall, but kind of a tool wall when you really get down to it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put up plywood in the corner. I'm going to start with this first part here. I know I've got enough plywood for that. Then I'll have to go back and get more for the other side. Now, most of this is going to be a complete waste because it's going to be hidden by my cabinet, but I need the plywood to go all the way from the top to the bottom because I have long things I need to store, and then I've got some stuff that I'm storing behind the cabinet, and my options were to either build it into the cabinet or build it onto the wall, and it just made more sense to put plywood there. The main reason I'm doing this is I'm just getting tired of chasing down the studs to put things in. Or just putting them straight into the drywall. So I just thought I would finally just, bite the bullet, buy some plywood, make it pretty, and then put it up. And then from that point forward, I can either use French cleats or I can just screw things directly into the plywood itself. So that's where we're going. So this will take me a few days to do, but I just want to kind of get it started. I'm kind of doing the Jimmy DiResta thing and working on like 5 projects at once, but it keeps me from getting bored. So anyway, that's where we're going today. Thanks.
So the first thing I have to do is figure out where my studs are on the wall. So with houses these days, they're all over the place, and the garage is no different. So they should be 16 inches on center. Some of these are 16, some of these are 24, some of these are just random where they had to put a stud to do one operation or the other or support something or the other. So here I'm just using a magnet to look for drywall screws, nails, and as you can see, not having a great time with it. So I only found 2. And here is something called a story stick. This is just a cutoff, actually, of something I was making. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this to plan out where I'm putting everything else. So what I'm doing is I'm marking the studs and I'm marking the edge of the wall there and then what direction it goes in, and that's going to be used for me to drill holes everywhere else. So the first step here is I'm actually cutting some edge banding. So I'm going to edge band all the pieces of plywood, and I have this walnut here, and people are going to go, why in the world are you cutting up that beautiful piece of walnut to make edge banding? I'll show you here in a minute, but it's not that beautiful. This is actually the center of the tree, and so it's not the best stuff in the world, and as you can see, it's horribly cut. So this one can't really be used for anything else, so I'm just going to cut it to length, and then I'll saw it into strips, and we'll use that for our edge banding for our plywood. And here I'm going to show you actually how badly this is cut, just so you can see what I'm dealing with, but that's almost a C. So it's a little bit less than 3/4 of an inch thick, so there's not much you can do with it anywhere else. So here I'm just starting the prep work on the edge banding. So these pieces of walnut I'm using are technically still live edge, so there was an actual fuzzy edge on it from the original sawmill. So I'm actually just cutting that off both sides. And once I cut it off, then I'll use my thin strip jig to actually make some smaller cuts. So here we're starting on the thin strips for the edge banding. So I have my Rockler thin strip jig, and I'm just setting it to I think 3/4 of an inch. And then once I get it set, I'm just going to cut these. So the way it works is you put your jig in place, gives you how wide to how far to move your fence. You cut a strip, move your fence over, cut another strip, and you just do that until you're out of material. So now I have the fun job of gluing all these things on. So I'm putting them on 2 or 3 sides depending on where it goes on the wall. So basically just putting the glue on, and then I'll tack it into place with a pin nailer, and then we'll go on to the next side. Pretty boring stuff. So here I'm adding the second strip, and I'm just using a simple butt joint. I'm not doing anything complicated like a 45 or miter the joint. I'm just putting it on there. I also realized later on I'm using this roller, which is really handy, by the way. It's a Rockler product, really handy, but this is not how you do it. I figure out later I was doing the wrong thing. So anyway, the easiest way to do it is to actually put a bead of glue on the thing and then roll it to spread it out, and that's not what I was doing. And then got the new Rockler spring clamps there, and just giving them a shot just to hold it, because it's 4 feet long, and just want to make sure everything was in place. You can see the end of the other one sticking off there, and here it's just a matter of just going again, tacking it in place, and just we'll cut off the edges later. So this is pre-finished plywood, so it cleans up really easily. So I just have water and some rag. That's what's in the little bottle there. It's just a bunch of water. So here's the second piece of plywood. Basically what I did when I bought these, I had them cut them in half lengthwise, so I ended up with 2 4-foot sections, and that's just more manageable for me, because picking a 3/4 inch piece of plywood up that's a lot of work. Anyway, so I had to kind of edge band it. Unfortunately, I had to get the clamps out because I was not getting good adhesion on the plywood, and it was moving a bit more, so I had to do that with this one. That's what the black and yellow things are, is just long pipe clamps. And again, just securing it with the Rockler spring clamp there, and just putting some pin nails in to hold it in place while the glue dries. And here you just see me cutting off the excess there. So that's just a little Japanese pull saw. Just cutting it off. And then I'll sand it down a bit. Make it smooth. Same on this end. done. So here's where we're actually using that story stick that I created. So again, it's just a piece of, it's a cutoff from cutting some white oak, to be quite honest. So anyway, so what I did is I marked the stud locations, and while the glue's drying here, I am going to mark where I'm going to put all of the holes for securing the plywood to the wall itself. So all I'm doing is I'm just marking out the stud locations on the plywood, and then just making it look pretty. So here what I'm doing is I'm creating a ledger board to put on the wall to support the plywood while I'm hanging it up. I figure that's kind of like what you do with a cabinet in a kitchen. You put these ledger boards up to where you need them, and then just put the cabinet on top and secure it to the wall. Doing the same thing with this. So just a piece of pine that I have left over from another project. Took my story stick, marked out where the stud locations go, and then just gonna drill some holes and put them up. So here I am about to put the ledger strip up, and as you can see from the bandana, it's about 100 and something degrees in my workshop. So what I have done is I have a mark on the wall where it is 4 feet from the top, and I'm making a mark to put my ledger board. So I'm basically moving it down just a hair and putting it in exactly the wrong place, and I'll get to that in just a minute. But all we're doing is just putting this on the wall again, just like you would putting a ledger board up when you're hanging cabinets in your kitchen. So this goes a certain way. I secure into the studs, and then the idea is I'll put the plywood on this at the bottom, and then basically just push it in at the top. Because I have, if you can't tell, I have 10-foot ceilings here, so it's really hard to kind of get to the top. So that's what I'm doing. It's just a installation aid.
So I'll wait for the glue to dry on my edge banding. Let's go through the next part of this project. For those of you who've never seen one of these, this is what we call a boom box, circa 1900 and 1901, so it's last century. It comes with a compact disc player. It comes with a cassette player. Those are both forms of music storage that you could use until they ran out of energy, or in case of the tape when it broke or just stretched too far. So anyway, this has been in my shop forever. I can't tell you how many millions of lines of code I have written listening to songs on the radio and stuff like that. So this is kind of one of my few sentimental things. So we're going to put this at the top of the top. So I need to kind of figure out where it's going to go. I want to do that before I get all excited about putting the thing on the wall, because I have to route a groove in the back of this to accept the power cord. So we have our boom box. So I'll be on the wall. I have this beautiful piece of red zebra wood. The problem with the red zebra wood is red zebra wood moves a whole lot. I'm sure you can see that. Here we go. So moves a lot, so it's not flat, but that's okay. We can adjust. No big deal. So basically, we're gonna have this on the shelf like this, and then I've got some 3D printed brackets, and then we are going to put those on the top so let's see them, secure them to the plywood, and then that's it. So I just got to figure out where I'm going to put all this, and I'll link to it too. I'm working on today. So I added to my story stick to mark where mostly the edge of my toolbox is. What I'm doing is, as I mentioned, I'm putting my radio at the top here, and I want the power cord to be hidden. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to route a groove on the back of this, and I want it to be far enough in to where it more or less just comes out, and then we'll plug into my toolbox. The toolbox has two power strips on it, one on the inside, one on the outside. So this just plugged directly into the outside one. And so basically I'm running it down from the top, so I've got to cut the groove vertically, and then I'm going to go horizontally about a foot or so over, and I'm just trying to work out where I want to put it. So if this is the edge of the toolbox, probably put it 5 inches or 6 inches away from the edge of the panel. Yeah, let's just do 6. It's not gonna hurt anything. Okay, 6 right there. And what I'll do is I'll put some blue tape. Just transfer it around the edge there and there. Then when I flip it over, I'll know where we're out. So I think everything is done on this side. Oh yeah, the other things I need to do is I've got to put a couple screw holes. So put a screw hole there, and a screw hole there. As you probably, I probably wasn't clear about this, but there are only, let me bring it over here, sorry. There are only 2 studs in that wall for 48 inches. So, and they're literally right in the middle. So what is that? How many inches is it apart? Not even a foot. So it's kind of weird, but yeah, so what I'm gonna do to secure this to the wall is I'm gonna countersink some screws going up, and which is why I use 3/4 inch plywood, so I can countersink it and then put a plug in there to cover up the screw hole and make it all look pretty. And anyway, so I mean, put a couple in because that will hold it in while I get the rest of them screwed in. So we'll put these in at the bottom, and then I'll run a line up all the way up to the top, and then we'll route the groove, and then I'm gonna round the edges here to make it a little bit nicer and safer, and then we'll go put it on the wall. So that is the plan for the next couple hours here.
Here I'm just laying out the placement of the groove in the back. So you're looking at the top here on the left hand side, and I'm just routing the groove down the down the top from top to bottom, and then putting a we have to go over to actually where the hole will actually come out for that. So that's what I'm doing. So here I'm just routing out the groove for the power cable for the radio, and so doing this with a 3/4 inch bit, 3/8 inch deep. Probably should have done it in 2 passes, but it all worked out. So it's mostly straight. There's a couple issues like right there where I kind of had a little jiggle, but it's on the back of the wall, so nobody's ever going to know but me. But anyway, that's what I'm doing. So here I'm actually putting the hole through from the back to the front. So what it is, I just drilled a little pilot hole through from the back, and now I've got a Forstner bit coming in from the front, and I'm just going to poke it through and mark it, and then I'll flip it over and cut the regular hole out, and that's what the power cord will go through when it plugs into the radio.
take a quick shout out, take a minute, take a quick shout out to Easy Arc here. They make what Brett's called an excellent piece of kit for doing countersunk screws. So they have 4 different or 5 different countersink bits, different thicknesses, different depths, different sizes. There's like 2 sizes. The cool thing about it is they not only have the actual bits themselves, they have replacement augers, they have an extension, they have stop collars, then they have 2 bits and 2 hole plug cutters. Now this is important because I'm actually going to use this one to actually cut some plugs out of some of the walnut cutoffs we had to populate or cover up the screw holes that I had. So anyway, so this is, I've kind of seen the ads for this for a while. I never, picked up. This is not affiliated, or I don't even have an affiliate link or anything like that. So I just thought I'd mention it. Kind of bummed because I knocked my drill off the table yesterday and it landed face down and broke this bit here, which I was using, but I got the second one there, so I'm using that. But anyway, if you have 25 US, I would definitely pick this up because it's definitely going to be worth it. So let's go cut some plugs to plug those holes.
Okay, once the plugs are cut, I just need to cut them out on the bandsaw here. You can just pop them out with a screwdriver if you want, but I kind of needed a flat end on both sides. So just do that and put my hand up there because when they come out, they have a tendency to just go everywhere, so they're probably all over my shop still. So just pulling them out of the way, and we'll go put them in here in a minute. Okay, so here I am putting in those plugs we just cut, and as you can see, everything's installed. Well, where is the footage of me installing it? I did not want to show that. One, it was horribly scary. I put the ledger board in the wrong place. I had to do a whole bunch of weird stuff, and to be quite honest, with all the crap in there, including that big cabinet, I couldn't get the plywood through the gap between where I had to put the camera and everything. So I just put the whole wall up without recording it. Just felt safer that way, and so you didn't miss anything. So basically, all I'm doing, put it up. There's actually 3 pieces to it. There's a full 8-foot section and then about a 1.5-foot section, and they all have edge banding around it, like you see. And so this is kind of the middle right here, and I'm just putting a bit of super glue in there and plug them in and just hammer them in. These I cut really thin so that I would not have to cut them off, because this is pre-finished plywood, and since it's pre-finished, if I use a saw on it, the probability of me scratching that, and this is paper thin veneer on this plywood, so it would just basically come off. So that is why there's no footage of me doing all the hard work to get this up. So, but it is up, and this is kind of the finishing touches of the wall, and now I get to do all the fun stuff that goes with it. So as I mentioned at the beginning here, I have long stuff to store, and part of this is some levels. So these are some 3D printed brackets that I found for just this purpose. I printed them off and are going to use the level to level the level. And so yeah, so just put one up and then put the other one up, put the level on it, and we'll basically screw them in. So I have a total of, I think, 3 of these and some other couple pieces there that I'm going to put horizontally right here. This is just behind the top of the box, so they're out of the way of everything. And again, this is just a way of me cleaning up the shop and making sure everything is in its place. So just putting them there, and then I'll do the others in the same way. Okay, so one of the weirdest things that I'm doing is I'm making this pull-out tray thing. And I've got a couple of things that I have that I use occasionally, but they're large and they're in the way and they're just awkward. And so basically, what I'm doing is I'm making this drawer, quote unquote, to be placed on the wall that I could just pull out and get to these two things whenever I need it. This will go at the very bottom. And so what you're seeing here is I'm assembling it. It doesn't have to be that big. It's literally only about 4 inches deep or something because it's just a couple pieces of plywood that I'm sewing. So here I'm just assembling this drawer thing. I've already put edge banding on it and rounded off the edges and stuff. And now I'm just putting the finishing touches on it. And then the big side will go against the wall, and then it'll be kind of open in the front. And then this is the kind of the lip, and basically the lip just keeps the stuff in. So that's what it looks like. And then here in just a second we'll put the drawer slides on and we'll make it a giant oblong drawer thing. So these are the drawer slides I got. They are locking drawer slides. That's what the blue handle's for. They're 40 inches long, which is perfectly fine. And I've got to figure out how to make these things go. And I have absolutely no clue what I'm doing here. So what I thought I would do is I would put one on and then get that secured, and then hopefully that would guide me on how to put the second one on. I have two of them to make them stable. So I probably could have used regular drawer slides. I have some 20-inch, a ton of 20-inch drawer slides, but I would have had to put four together and figure the probability of me being able to put that on the wall was rather low. So this whole part of the project is absolutely not worth the money. I mean, these drawer slides cost me $100, and there's just no reason for that, to be quite honest. So, but I did what I did, and now I'm happy with it because it makes my shop a little bit cleaner and stuff, and it actually works out pretty good in the end. But this is just me trying to figure out how in the heck to put these on. So I'm just marking where I want them, and then I'm gonna put it on, and then try and figure out how to get it attached to the wall. So what I did off camera is actually went and fitted this first into the wall, and what I figured out, this is no different than a regular drawer that goes inside of a cabinet. So I basically just held it up there, and I sketched out where I wanted it to go, and then I screwed one of the screws in for the part that goes against the wall, and then pulled it off and screwed the other screws in there, and everything worked fine. And now I'm just doing the same exact thing to the other one. And here was what I was talking about earlier, just securing it to the wall, just like you would a normal drawer slide. So I put enough screws in to get it held, and then I'm just put the rest in, and then I'm just going to sit there and play with it for a bit to make sure I understand how it works, because I've got 2 handles, and it has 2 locking locations. And so when you hit the first locking location, it stops moving, and then you have to pull the handle again to get it to release, and that's what you see me doing there. So just playing with it, and then I'm going and just put the rest of the screws in, and that's about it. And it's all installed, and now you're going to see what I'm going to put in these things, or this thing. So I've got a jig to help me create drawer boxes. So this is just something I created because I was doing a bunch, and it's just made for 1/2-inch plywood, and it keeps everything at a right angle, and I just put the glue on and put it in this little jig, and then tack it in place with a brad nailer. And then this is a Lazy Susan that I used to do finishing and stuff on. So that is that. So you probably didn't notice, but I actually went back and reprinted these hangers. They were too far apart. So what I did is I reprinted them to make the space in between smaller, so I could get more stuff in there if I ever need to. And then here I'm putting up the final big thing. This is actually a really cool wooden level, and it has basically it's just in a storage case, but one of those cool Facebook Marketplace finds you get every now and then. I have no really using or any real reason to use it, but it just looks pretty. But it's in a plastic box, so I gotta figure out what to do with that. So yeah, so here I'm just trying to get everything put together and make it fit in as small space as possible. And this is the last thing that I'll be putting up there behind the cabinet. There we go. And just like that, we are done. So this turned out exactly as I had hoped. I got a couple small issues. One is I tried to put the top all the way to the ceiling, which is about as straight as a piece of spaghetti. So I kind of messed it up over on that side, and it's sticking out over here. It's not going to go anywhere. It's got plenty of connections there. It's just kind of irritating that that happened. So, oh well. But anyway, so I've got a long ruler over there. I have more rulers here. I've got 3 spirit levels. And then at the bottom, I have got my pull-out drawer with the paint thing and my drawer assembly jig. And after that, everything's back. Now, the only problem is it does stick out from the wall a little bit more than it used to, because I had to make room for the
drawer there, so it sticks out a bit more, which means it kind of gets in the way. I had just installed this to keep my books and notes in. That may have to go because it kind of gets in the way, but I can still get in here. That should be fine. So anyway, and then the last thing is I put the boom box up there, turned it on. I was going to put a switch in line with the cord that I need to kind of stick in the wall there, but I realized this is a power strip. Power strip has power. Power is on. Radio is on. So anyway, that's it. So like I said, my goal is to eventually do another 4x4 set right here. My wife saw that and really liked it and said I should do the whole end there, which I might do. Haven't made up my mind. I need to get the spider crap out of here because it looks like I have more going for flies. So anyway, so yeah, so again, the main reason that I put this up is to get rid of me having to hunt down studs, because this is the garage. They are all over the place. Literally 16 inches, 24 inches, 22 inches, just all kinds of stuff. Drives me crazy. So this looks pretty decent and will give me much more storage. But the biggest issue that I have is these are 10-foot ceilings. This is scary to get up there. I had to have my wife hold me and the ladder when I put that radio up there because it's just too high. So anyway, so, you know, in all honesty, that space is just wasted because I'm 6'1". That's as high as I can reach right there without a grabber device. And see, I forgot to put those plugs on those things there, which is going to drive me crazy, which means I need to get the ladder out again. But that's the story for another day. But anyway, I am really pleased with this. This turned out exactly as I expected. And anyway, hope this gives you an idea. So we're going to be moving some stuff over there. I need to build a stand for saws. Is one of the main things I'm putting back there. And the rest of it, I have no idea what I'm going to put up there. Kind of disappointed, Charlotte. My Snap-on 1980s memorabilia, it slipped out of my hand and the second hand banged into me and it bent it. So now I have to get a replacement for that. That was what was going up against the wall there. And then other than that, I'm just gonna probably keep going. I've got enough for like one piece up there. Then I'll need like several more sheets to do it, because this is a full sheet and a bit. So picture, see, 1, 2, at least 3 sheets. So probably 4 sheets total. So yeah, so that'll work. Anyway, but I need to do something to get some of these boxes and crap just from sitting around. I want to put those up high. I do eventually, right there in the sunlight there, or the light, I'm going to put a what you call that, the like Mr. Cool type of thing. So I want to put that right there to get this some air conditioning, because last week it was 100 degrees out here. Has no wind. It's getting toasty. So anyway, thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it. Got any questions or comments, leave them below. Hey everybody, Future Mitch here. So I got done recording everything for the build of the tool wall and put it into my editing software, and realized I had 2 hours of stuff to go through and weed out to get down to, 10, 15 minutes, whatever it was. So thought to go ahead while I was in here and just show, hey, this is what I started doing. So I broke out the 3D printer. I printed a Sawtill, I printed some hammer holders, and then finally I repurposed a model design for cutting boards and used that for my new Armor pocket hole jig. So just want to get the stuff out of the way. This works out really good because, again, when the top is open, I can't really have anything back there that's going to get in the way. So those are positioned perfectly. These models that I got, and I'll link everything in the description below. But yeah, this actually worked out good. Everything is just the way I wanted it to. I've got to put one more thing at the top, but other than that, yeah, everything is exactly as I wanted it. So I'm really proud of it. So there you go. This is the final end.